If you have a ranch that is branding and another ranch decides to come over and help out, they do have the employer, let's say the employer also wants to help out, but he's exempt over here because he's an employer over here, then he wouldn't be covered under any circumstances coming over here and helping. So he would still be not covered under his work comp policy, okay, or under the other guy's work comp policy, okay. So there really is some stuff that goes with this. So I'm just trying to tell you, nothing is as clear as mud, right? I mean, you can't just sit there and say black and white, this is absolutely the way this is and no exceptions. There's always going to be some maneuvering, some play in this and how it's interpreted. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's not, and don't get so emotionally tied up with this because that's going to hurt you in the end. So there is something in the pamphlet basically that says this, all right? It's a worksheet and it's basically designed for you to be able to track where you're at within your industry. So what you can do is you go through here and basically if you think of it this way, so it's the number of injuries, total number of injuries, so there's two rates that you're tracking here. Total recordable cases, so that's all four columns added together off of your 300 in that slot times 200,000. Now why 200,000? Because it's a statistical thing. All right, and what it is that basically it's this. If you work 40 hours a week for a year, you're going to work about 2,080 hours, okay? Subtract about 2 weeks of vacation off of that. Everyone works about 2,000 hours a year on average. If you take 100, because you want 100 employees, take 100 times that, that would be your 200,000, okay? So this is the number of hours that 100 people would work on average for a year, right? With the 2 weeks vacation, okay? So you figure that in, you take that times the number of hours worked. So if you remember what it was for my organization, 93,247,000 or 93,247 hours. That would equal out what my total recordable cases would be. Now my DART, on the other hand, is days away, restricted, transferred activity, okay? So in that particular case, I'm just taking columns H and I, which is my days away and my restricted activity, adding those together, that's my number of injuries, times 200,000 again, and divided by the number of hours worked is going to give me my DART incident rate, okay? So what this will do for you is this will actually allow you to kind of understand where you're at within your organization. So if you take a look at this, I did this for Buckman's. I ran it through. So my total recordable cases, 5 times 200,000 divided by 93,247 hours equals 10.7. So what does that rate tell me? Yeah, exactly. But what that's telling me is for every 100 employees, I'm hurting basically 11 employees for every 100 that I have. Okay, and that's total recordable cases. So that's above and beyond first aid. Now, on the other hand, down here for my DART, 4 times 200,000, the 93,247 hours divided by that, I come up with 8.6. So what it's saying is for every 100 employees, I'm injuring 8.6, or 9 in this particular case, to the point to where they're actually losing days at work or they can't come back to their full-time position. That's bad, okay? So generally that number is either equal to the TRC or it's lower than the TRC, okay? Which is your total recordable cases. So what I did was I went out, I found my information on the website. So if you guys are interested, once you get your NACS code figured out, you go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics down there at the bottom. It's on your slide, or hopefully you can read it, .gov, and your injury, illness, and fatality data is basically what that is. And it'll give you by year. So when I went out there, what I found was they had problems with 2011 and 2012 as far as the years. They said that there were some statistical anomalies in there that they didn't like that particular 2 years. There were some problems with how they counted the hours or something. So in that particular case, I just went with 2010. So I compared my 2013 rates with the 2010. So you can see the TRC rate for my industry, for this industry with the NACS code, was 4.3. My rate was 10.7, which was 6.4 above the national rate. That tells me I got issues. So then my DART, which is again my days away, restricted and transferred activity, was only a 2.2. Well, if I'm at an 8.6, again, I'm 6.4 above the national rate for days away and restricted transferred activity. So in this particular case, when I look at this and I'm the owner of the business, we got some work to do within our industry or within our company, because we're way above the national rate. And this is causing me problems, because when you look at it, this also means I'm paying higher workers' comp. So when you start getting into that, you can look at your E-mod rate. Anything above 1, and you're paying more than the other guy. So keep that in mind, that when you look at 1, that's what the industry that you're in, or the class code you're in, that's what everyone else is paying. When you look at what your E-mod rate is, and it's 1.1, 1.2, if you're at a 2 point something or higher, you're just strictly out of the ballpark at that point in time. You're almost paying double the rate that anybody else is. So this is where it's a disadvantage for you. You can't keep up with your competitors. So if you're trying to cut costs, here's one place that you can do it, is start working on eliminating your injuries. And that's going to help you out with lowering your lowering what you're paying out on those particular things. Okay? Your premiums and what you're paying out on those. We talked about it the last time we came around. I think we talked about what you have the primary cost to the injury, and then you have those indirect costs to an injury. Okay? But I wanted to give you an idea of what you could do with that information, so that you can kind of take a look yourself, because this is what OSHA is going to do when they come in, is they're going to take a look at these kind of things.